Balkans. Okay, my name is Asmir, and I work in Mikado. It's an initiative group, Verein. It's an initiative group, NGO. We work mainly, our work is a cultural work with youth, with young people. And this project I coordinate, it's called die Welt. And we are trying to, we tackle the subject of climate justice. And because of the focus of our work are also the vulnerable groups and the young people from vulnerable groups, and also the people who have background which or their self or their parents came from different places, so they can understand more about maybe about global differences, which happens today, also considering the climate change. So that was, let's say, where we saw that there is a movement for Friday for the Future with young people, and we saw that there is a big gap in between of young people who are coming from the migrant population, let's say, the people who came into Germany, and people that didn't. So yeah, and of course, because of these vulnerable groups, there is also the big majority, or not majority, but one part of a group is people of color. So of course, we always think, when we think about climate justice, it's always this global north, global south. So in order for me to feel better working on this subject, I was thinking, okay, so to talk about global south, maybe it's not, I'm not so representative. So I was thinking, okay, actually in Bosnia, in Balkan, in Serbia, we have all these problems with the post-war, with the capitalism, with the transition. So I was thinking, okay, if I see this, maybe young people can also feel it better or feel it near to their own problem in Europe. And yeah, so we come to balkaNet with Martin, talking about all the subjects, and we start with greening the Balkans. We start with people who are active in the Balkan, in the region, with also with organizations who are here to try to find a common ground or to try to exchange the work we do here and the work the people do there. So now I talk too much. But thank you very much. You came. I was hoping there were more young people also. We did a lot of yeah. We know what is the system also in Germany with the school and everything, with also a lot of pressure that children have. But today we will not talk about this. We will talk about other subjects. So that's why I give the mic to the Martin.
Ja, danke, Jasper. Ja, dobrodošli, herzlich willkommen, und welcome to Greening the Balkans. We are happy that you have found a way also on an early Friday morning to us. I'm Martin Meiske. I'm an environmental historian. I'm also a member of balkaNet, who is organizing several cultural events, film screenings, discussion rounds, concerts, etc. In the city, and we started a series called Greening the Balkans, also facing all these environmental protests that came up in the Balkans in the last years that were very impressive, and we just wanted to get to know these people, the initiatives behind it, and wanted to start a discussion also with the initiatives that are active in environmental justice terms here, and wanted to find out and exchange best practice aspects. So I'm going to skip the part talking about environmental justice and different aspects of it, because we are already a little bit late. But Just a short introduction on the panels. The panels are theoretically 90 minutes, and there will be presentations in the beginning, 10 to 15 minutes, and afterwards we have discussions, first a little bit on the panel, and then we open up for the public. And I would like to invite the panelists to me now so that we can start with the first panel. So while you are entering here, I'm gonna introduce you already so that we can start as soon as possible. Yep. So like, yep. Just jump in here. Perfect. So I'm gonna start from the left side. So on the left side there's Dušan Pavlović. He's from davimo Beograd. So he's a member of davimo Beograd, which was founded in Serbia as a citizens initiative in 2015. Aimed at criticizing and reforming the current political system through involving citizens in the development of their environment. So, and he believes in the strength of the local community and its ability to influence policies such as those that are relevant regarding clean air, clean water, functional and modern public transportation, as well as other public and communal services, education and healthcare for everyone. And since davimo Belgrade gained 8 seats in the local elections in 2022, he's fighting also for environmental justice from inside and outside the institution, so to speak. Yeah, welcome, Dušan. So right next to him is Andreas Schuster, who studied social work in Munich, and since 2003 he is employed at Green City e.V. in the field of sustainable mobility and campaigning. He is organizer of the regular panel discussions Munich Mobility Culture and co-founder of very successful citizen initiatives, Sauba, so on clean air, and Radentscheid, München. Yeah, I'm not from Bavaria, so it's like a little bit complicated for me. And Radentscheid München, which is an initiative on improving the cycling infrastructure within Munich, but also within Bavaria later. And since May 2020, he is also a member of the City Council for the Social Democratic Party with the main focus of mobility, city planning, and environmental issues. So there's an overlap between the two of you to start off with. And then the next one is, yeah, exactly. Applause. Yeah, so the next one is Silvia Gonzalez. And anyone who is active in Munich and is just a little concerned with green projects from civil society will come across Green City e.V. And this is the organization that is founded in 1990 that is dedicated to countless projects that deal with questions of mobility, education, and environmental protection. And Silvia is head of Green City's Urban Green project. She studied environmental science in Spain and after an exchange semester decided to move to Munich at the turn of the millennium. Great that you are here. And right next to me is Maja Mirković from the Aarhus Centar in Sarajevo. She's a lawyer by training and in Bosnia and Herzegowina engaged in the actions of the Aarhus Centar Sarajevo, which fights for the implementation of the Aarhus Convention. And this convention grants the public rights regarding access to information, public participation, and access to justice in governmental decision-making processes on matters concerning the local, national, and transboundary environment. She has been fighting for reforming the rights of citizens' initiatives as well as reforming the process of issuing environmental permits in the region. Welcome, Maja.
Thank you.
So, okay, who's going to start? Dušan, you want to go first? I'm going to start if you want, you can also come here and then switch the slides. You want the micro like this?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So it's in there. It's in there already. Just give me a second.
It's in there. Okay. Cool. Hi everyone. So I will try to do this in 15 minutes. Cannot promise, sorry. So I'm Dušan Pavlović. I'm from the organization, and it's a political organization, davimo Beograd, or Don't Let Belgrade Drown. I will start from the beginning. We were just a group of friends who were concerned about lack of public places and privatization and destruction of those places. So we get in those abandoned places and try to enrich them, try to make them inclusive, try to get them to be invitive. And that's how we started to organize ourselves. The first thing that was very important for us is this, in regards to this theater. It's a movie theater Zvezda or Star. It was privatized in 2007, and till 2014 it didn't work at all. But it wasn't the only theater that was privatized. All of the theaters in the city center of Belgrade were privatized, and they didn't work at all. They were completely abandoned because the investors didn't want to play movies there, I guess. They just wanted to build something there, but they couldn't. So it was abandoned and nothing happened there. And we decided that it was a great idea to break in. So we broke in the theater Zvezda. We occupied it, we cleaned it, and we make it run and play movies. To this day, it is still occupied and it still plays movies. So if you're in Belgrade, I suggest you go and see some films there every day. I think every day there are projections. And this is the turning point for us. It is Belgrade Waterfront project. It is located in the center of Belgrade, about 100 hectares of land. And city leaders and the national leaders, political leaders, decided to privatize that land and to sell it to the Arab investors to build small Dubai. This is what it's supposed to look like. It's atrocious, but nevertheless, the project was very corrupt. Behind that project, the Arab investors were just a facade, and behind that project, the people who sold that land, the political leaders, were heavily involved. And we decided to oppose that privatization, and we formed the group Ne dajmo Beograd. Don't let Belgrade drown, because this is Belgrade Waterfront, and so hence the name. And we organized ourselves. We even made this yellow duck to represent the amount of corruption, and we brought it everywhere with us. You can see here a little boat. And then in 2015, the incident in Savamala happened. That is a small place in Belgrade waterfront. In the middle of the night, unknown group of people with heavy machinery came and tore down the buildings to make room for the new development. It was without any permissions, completely illegal, and we decided to make protests. This is a city parliament, and this is a duck with a phantom cap on it. So it's a phantom duck. This is a video. Can we play video? No, we cannot. No, never mind. Never mind. Well, we even made a video to invite people to our protests, and the protests were massive. Oh, I got lost. Now, this is the Okay, so we got video. Okay. No sound.
We didn't know.
Okay. You can also comment on the pictures just like this. But yeah.
Maybe ask me will help. Can I play?
Yes.
No sound.
Yeah, sorry, we didn't check the sound. I'm now a bit lost. Sorry.
No, never mind. We could skip then this. There's no point.
I'm sorry.
No, it's okay.
But I think the pictures are impressive by themselves.
Yeah, and the sound is more impressive.
So we have to see something to look after
Yeah.
the presentation.
Okay, thank you. Sorry. So these were the protests. And this. So it was quite big, and we got the media attention and the public attention on this problem, and also we got the government attention. So we were on a payroll of Soros, Rockefeller, CIA, lots of pressure on us from the government control media. They didn't stop us. We decided to further our activities, to enlarge our activities, to fight for the public spaces, and to promote the importance of public spaces, of local decentralization. We managed to list all the problems in Belgrade, and we decided in 2018 to try to run for the local parliament. So we didn't have much funds, but our campaign was quite interesting, very inventive. So we got some support from various people and organizations, as you can see here, but we didn't make it to the parliament. So only 3.5%, 5 was the census. That didn't dishearten us, so we decided to continue to fight for the public interest, public spaces on the river banks, in the woods, and on the streets. In our parks, you can see here massive cut down of trees everywhere in Belgrade, always, all the time. So we decided they cut and we plant. Yeah. And this is very important for us, our struggle for the clean air. Belgrade is one of the most polluted cities in the world in regards to the air quality and PM particles. So 5 years ago, no one in Belgrade, not even organizations or citizens, didn't care about that issue at all. And we decided to act upon it. We made some action, and we promoted the importance of clean air. And today, 5 years later, there is not a single political organization in Serbia, not only Belgrade, that doesn't speak of importance of clean air. So we are very proud on that. This is very important for me because I was coordinator for this initiative. We were defending the biggest city forest in Belgrade, Košutnjak. The part of Košutnjak is protected, but the other part is not protected. It is about 30 hectares of forest, of trees, and the investors from Czech Republic tried to cut down all that 30 hectares of trees and build apartments. So we gathered 80,000 signatures and various actions in the vicinity of the forest and in the whole of the Belgrade. And we managed to put that project on hold, but it is still active, unfortunately. And these are the biggest ecological protests in Serbia ever. That they happened, they started last year. And we are not the sole organizers of this, but we were involved. the protests are because of the digging of lithium in western Serbia. You may heard of this organization Rio Tinto. They are trying to build a mine there and to dig out the lithium ore. The quite large deposits of lithium are discovered in Serbia. I think Serbia is 12th in the world in regards to the lithium deposits. So they tried to open a mine there and to extract lithium and the possibility of environmental damage of that extraction is quite big, and not only for the local community but even broader. So these protests and actions that we and the citizens of the entire nation took only managed to postpone, I guess, that project, and it is still active, and Rio Tinto is still there. So that's that, and only one more thing. In this year, in March, we decided to try our luck again at local elections and national elections, and guess what? We got in. So we are the biggest opposition group in local parliament. Thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you very much, Dušan. This was a very impressive story of the evolution from a movement to the parliament and all these kind of parallel actions. It's really interesting. Also a very interesting example of environmental justice that should also concern us. It's not only global north, global south, but also in other countries. It's so it's really very relevant. And yeah, we continue right away with the next one on the list. And yeah, I would ask Silvia maybe to come. Yeah?
Fine.
That would be great.
I just have one small technical thing. Just please talk in the mic. On the mic, not
Are you recording it or what? Ah, you're recording.
We are recording everything and with video, and because there is not so many people, so we will try to bring your messages outside.
Yeah. Thank you for the invitation. I am very glad.
I know, it's fine. No, okay, good. Sorry, my mistake. The floor is yours.
Thank you. I'm very glad to be here because I like very much the Balkans. I am from Spain, from Madrid, and 20 years ago I came to Munich. So I am half of my life already here in Munich. But I traveled a lot to the Balkan countries, and I even learned Serbian language for 4 years. But yeah, but I'm not going to say no word in your language. And yeah, so I am working for these 20 years where I am in Munich almost the whole time for Green City. This is an environmental organization. As Martin said, it's for more than 30 years active in Munich, and we want to change this city to do it more sustainable, more green, and with the citizens together. So we do a lot of projects to show that it can be done in another way, in a better way, in a sustainable way. So I brought you a couple of examples how we work, and these are projects and ideas that can work in every city. So feel free to, is everything copy left? And we would be very if you have questions and you want to implement these projects in your cities, feel free. The oldest project of Green City is the so-called the Walking Trees. We've been doing this project for 30 years. So almost everyone in Munich has seen these trees somewhere. And it's kind of 15 trees on pots. You see them, like 5 meter high. And we put them in streets which don't have trees. Usually citizens call us and apply for this project. So we, if we think this the street is proper for that, then we come and put the trees. So if you live in the street, you go to work, and then you come in the evening, and it's like, oh, it's like. So what we want to do with this project is not just theoretically talking about what is this, why are trees important in our streets, and because the space is very limited in our streets. So probably if you want to plant a tree in this street, you would do it on in the space of the car, because the sidewalks, we don't want to do sidewalks not narrower, because we need the space for pedestrians, and probably because the lights and the water stuff running down the sidewalks. So you cannot plant trees in other space than on the car spaces. So if you just discuss in the theory, then citizens probably, if they have to choose, they would say, well, I need somewhere to park my car. But if you bring the trees to their doors, then it's another way to talk to the people. And then we take the trees, like they stay there like 5 weeks, 6 weeks, and then we put them on wheels and go around the street to the next spot, to the next street. And so the trees take the space of the cars, and even the police close the streets for us, and we walk like 4 kilometers, 6 kilometers to the next place. And so during the whole summer, we visit usually 3 neighborhoods. And in this time, we collect signatures and try to bring the process in the politics, so that in some time we get the trees planted. This is, of course, a very long time. Usually takes like 10 years from the initiation of this project till we get the trees planted. But some of them were planted actually, and 150 trees more or less have been planted. It's not this big, but the project has also very important awareness in the citizens. What we also started like a little bit illegal activity, what is called guerrilla gardening. This is an activist idea coming from America, from New York, and then came to London, and from London like to Europe. And it's about that people green these left spaces, like between parking cars and the sidewalks. You have like a small green, or not green, brown space, which is not planted in between. And we started doing that, we decided to try it also in Munich, because there is lacking of green in every corner. So we did that in the night, that is me actually, the one that in blue. It was always night. It was always raining. We were planting what we got, like what we found sometimes in the garbage, because people are like throwing plants away, which could be something. And well, we did really nice things. But what happened was that we didn't live there in these spots. We chose like spots in the city center, in the historical center, or kind of, and no one of us lived there. So that after that was like, and I cannot go with my bike like half an hour to water this spot. So we decided to put these posters and asking people to water. Of course, it didn't work. And the plants we had, yeah, they were not the best ones for the spot, perhaps. And some of the spots didn't look very good. So in this point, the city administration called us and said, what are you trying to do? The idea is good, but you are not implementing it very well. And then we sat on the table, and then we developed this steward idea. Patenschaft is kind of steward. I don't know. Yeah, yeah. So now it's become official. You can choose this spot in front of your house or your shop, and then you called us. We talked to the city administration. Yeah, it's okay. Then you can do it. You can take your family, your neighbors, and you get an agreement signed by the city, and you are an official steward for long term. You can take care of it, and you get help from Green City if you want. We can come and give you tools and plants you get from the city. It's a really nice development of a little bit guerrilla action to an official program from the city administration. Yeah. We've established also like 11 community gardens in Munich. That's how it works. Usually is our neighbors or institutions or even political groups who know about a plot of land which has not been used, and they asked us, can you research if we can use this spot for a project like gardening? So we talk to the city administration again. We do the whole bureaucracy stuff, contracts. We organize the logistics, watering, tools, and we look for the people in the neighborhoods and organize these gardens. They are very different. There are some spots in parks. For example, this one is like directly on the ground, and it's not closed, so it's opened for everybody. That was the deal with the city, and at this point, because parks are very have a lot of pressure, use pressure. No, we have a lot of people who need the places for other uses, sport uses, and it was a very big discussion to take a part of a park for gardening. And so the deal was that the garden had to be open for everybody, which has the problem that sometimes the vegetables disappear. Yeah. In this project, we have 130 small beds. It's like 2 square meters, but you can get some things from the small beds. In other spaces, we have to build raised beds because you cannot plant on the ground. In this case, is a vacant lot. In 3-4 years, it will be school will be built in. But we know how the city administration works and how quick. So we hope that we have this project perhaps even for 10 years. And we do also these gardening projects with in schools, so that we have also school gardens. And this is another project about public space, or for which uses are we giving our public space. Parking lots, again, it is open space. It's public space, and we are privatizing it for a private use, so that someone parks its cars there. And this action, I don't know if you know it, because I've heard from other cities in many cities in Europe have done parking day already. It's also an action coming from America, and it's about occupying a parking lot for one day. So we did it like, I think it was 2007, in one parking spot in the nearby. And next year, other institutions called and said, hey, that was a great idea, we want to do it also. So second year, we were 5 organizations occupying 5 parking lots. And the third year, we were already 30. And the fourth day, we were like 50. And we coordinated all these institutions and citizens and groups. And with and as an NGO, we were talking to the politicians that it is so important to regain this space for other uses, and that is what it's about. You show which different uses you can give for like 10 quadrat meters, how many possibilities you have. And it happened also that the city decided to implement this idea in a medium-term project. These are called parklets, and they can be built from April till October. So it's not like one day action, like parking day, but from April to October, you can use this space for neighborhoods, for being together. And these are citizens who get a permission from the administration, and you can buy it more professional if you have the means, but you can use police and do it really easy. In this case, it's a play school which don't have any space for the children to be. And this is where the parents built it, and they were so happy that they could go out with the children, because otherwise they had to be the whole time in the room. And the other one was built by a student group. This year there were like 20 built, and it's now an official project of the city. But Green City is the one who is organizing the neighbors, and we give them ideas how to do it. Yeah, so you see in this parklet there is also like a bookshelf built in, so you know it from other places perhaps, that there are those bookshelves where you swap things. So there is also a possibility to build them. We help also neighbors if they want to build just like a swap bookshelf, and it has not to be on a parking space. It can be on the ground. And to this theme, swapping and circular economy and zero waste. We do a lot of things also from Green City. That was just an example, like a swap party. I got my beautiful blues from the swap party. Back again to the greening the city. I wanted to say also that we promote the green top roofs and green walls. It is not that we build them, of course, but we give information and and try to raise awareness about this theme, because it is very, very important for the climate adaptation in our cities. And if we don't have the space for planting trees, then we have to find other solutions. In this building, we have a beautiful green facade. There are many ways to do it. It's not expensive. It can be expensive if you do it really fancy. But for us, it's about finding all possibilities you have to make our city green. And this is, for example, in courtyards. There are many courtyards in Munich which are used for parking cars again and everything. So there are very good examples how it could be better, and that is our function as NGO to promote these ideas. And that was it from me. I wanted to say that I have to go quite quickly because I have to do another presentation in another place. But I'm coming tomorrow evening to the party, so if you have questions, then tomorrow.
Yeah, thank you, Silvia. That was also filled with a lot of best practice examples, and also this question of from guerrilla to the local parliament initiative is also an interesting one. Might differ also in different regions. We're gonna discuss this on the panel, I guess, later. And so the next one is Maja.
You can use another mic, please.
Yeah.
Just put this here.
First of all, let me greet you once again. My name is Maja Mirković. I come from Bosnia and Herzegovina. I'm here on behalf of the Aarhus Center in BIH. As Martin kindly introduced me, I'm a lawyer, but my primary field of interest is criminal law. I'm a criminal lawyer. I would like to represent the best activities and practices of the Aarhus Center in BIH. As Martin pointed out, we are an NGO. We were founded in 2012, and on 20th June we celebrated 10 years of our work. So we were founded with the help of the OSCE mission in BIH and the city of Sarajevo, and we operate as a non-profit and non-governmental organization. Some of the activities of the Aarhus Center in BIH include for example, project Think About Nature, or Misli o prirodi, kako se u originalu zove, in Bosnian language, sorry. So Aarhus Center also became an eco hub Sarajevo, and until today, 13 initiatives were launched, which were related to protection of green spaces, finding alternative ways of waste disposal, and creation of 4 legal analysis, which would serve as a basis for developing and enhancing a legal framework, which I will talk about a bit later. What Martin also mentioned, that we are actively working on the promotion of the Aarhus Convention, or the Convention on Access to Information, Public Participation, Decision Making, and Access to Justice in Environmental Matters. We like to call the Aarhus Convention like a medicine for democracy, or a lijek za demokratiju in Bosnian. And So three pillars of Aarhus Convention are access to information, right to information in possession of state bodies, participation of public, especially in decision making, and legal protection, the right to objection, initiating an administrative or legal proceedings, mostly administrative dispute proceedings, when the right to access to information or public participation is violated. Some of the activities of the Aarhus Center include also participation in work of the Coalition for Protection of Rivers of Bosnia and Herzegovina. Bosnia and Herzegovina today faces the building of small hydropower plants, which are threatening to destroy our rivers and water sources, and the BIH has a total of 245 rivers. Needless to say, hydropower plants negatively affect the living world, and they irreversibly destroy rivers of high quality in BIH, which are used by the population for drinking. Changing the legal framework, these are some activities that I'm especially proud of. Of course, joint cooperation of Aarhus Center and Coalition for Rivers Protection in BIH. For example, on 23rd June, the Parliament of Federation, to be more exact, the House of Representatives, adopted the Declaration on the Protection of Rivers and voted the conclusion on a complete ban on the construction of small hydropower plants in the territory of FBIH, because for those who don't know, BIH has a complex political and legal system. BIH consists of two entities, Federation of BIH and the Republic of Srpska, and the district of Brčko, which is like a sui generis entity, let's say. The RS National Assembly adopted the Declaration on the Protection of Rivers in the Republic of Srpska on 17th February last year, and demanded from the government to immediately abolish all types of public incentives for energy production from small hydropower plants. For example, changing the legal framework included also the law on environmental protection of the FBIH. I have to say that this is the product of 7-year-long advocacy and agitation for adopting this law, which is very much in line with the provisions of the Aarhus Convention and provides stricter environmental protection provisions. Also, I have to mention the amendments to the law on electricity of FBIH, the rule book on ecologically acceptable flow of the BIH, and as well the new law on renewable energy sources of the RS. Here you can see some of our activities. Also, we were in, Leonardo DiCaprio endorsed the canceling of the two construction permits. This is the legislation that is in progress. Proposals of the new law on electricity of FBIH by the Parliament of FBIH, law on concessions in FBIH, and amendment of the decree on project. As well, the termination of concession agreement in the territory of FBIH where applicable. Here you can see some of the examples of the reactions of cantons and municipalities to the conclusion of the FBIH Parliament. For example, the Ministry of Agriculture, Water Management and Forestry of the Zenica-Doboj canton refused to conclude a concession agreement with the investor for the small hydropower plant Očevlja in Vareš, also referring to the conclusion on the complete ban on the construction of small hydropower plants in the entire territory of FBIH. Also, Aarhus Center in BIH provides free legal assistance to the informal group of citizens stopped building of mini hydropower plant on the river Kasendal. this informal group has been very vocal and very important when it comes to advocating for building. Stopping the building of this mini hydropower plant. And also, we provide legal aid to informal citizens group of Hastahana Park. Also, within the framework of the project Eco Hub, Misli o prirodi, or Think About Nature, an initiative has been launched with the Association of Tourist Guides Vučko. And apart from writing the legal analysis, which I'm an author of, we also were handing out mini jars to citizens in which they would put their cigarette butts instead of throwing them on the streets. So basically, within the Eco Hub Sarajevo and Think About Nature, 4 legal analyses were written. One is Think About Your Cigarette Butt. The second was improving the legal framework for air protection in Sarajevo canton. As you know, Sarajevo is also one of the most polluted cities in the world. And this is something that we are facing every year from November to March. Improving the legal and administrative framework for the protection of Bijambare and the nature park Vrelo Bosne, and the landscape Benbaša, and the nature park Skakavac. Here you have the links in case you are interested in learning more. Of course, I will ask you to disseminate the presentation further on. Also, I have to mention the court proceedings. Lawyers for Rivers, the project initiated approximately 25 court proceedings with the aim to save and protect 15 rivers in BIH. 6 court proceedings were related to 4 rivers, and they had a positive outcome. Mentioned rivers are Kruščica. I suppose that everybody here is familiar with that case. Buna, Gornja Neretva, and Vrhovinska. The remaining proceedings are in the phase of referral on first and second degree courts. Unfortunately, in Bosnia and Herzegovina, administrative disputes take a very long time to resolve, as well as the criminal proceedings. If anyone is familiar with the Balkan barometer, public opinion, the report launched by Regional Cooperation Council with headquarters in Sarajevo, in Bosnia and Herzegovina. For example, it was voted that in BIH justice organs and judicial bodies are the least accessible in the Balkans. Well, I think that approximately like 64 or 63. I will look it up and share it with you. Also, I have to mention the advocacy campaign within the framework of the project Think About Nature. This is the project Voice for Rivers, or Glas za rijeke. I will mention it only briefly. This project was implemented by the Aarhus Centar in cooperation with the partner organizations Eco Habitat and Eco Center. The association Bjelava was also part of the project. The project ran from last year up to the January this year. And what is important for this project that it was mostly focused on the local level to plan and protect the rivers and the responsible management of water resources on the territory of Foča, Višegrad, and Goražde, the eastern Bosnia part. Some of the special project goals were to increase awareness and involvement of the citizens of targeted municipalities on the importance of responsible water management to influence the revision of plans to build mini hydropower plants in the territory of the targeted municipalities, and to improve the dialogue between the local authorities and citizens in the field of water management. The project implementation included field visits, educational workshops, street campaigns, meeting with the representatives of local communities, and of course, to increase the visibility of the project, media posts were always shared. So here you can see some of the educational workshops. So consequently, the workshops were held in Visegrad, Gorazde, Ustikolna, and Foča. Key accomplishments, I would definitely point out the educational workshops that served as a platform for representing the citizens, the legislative framework, rights and obligations, as well the informational local plans and strategies in the field of water management. I would like to end this presentation with the prophecy of the Cree tribe. When all the trees are cut down, when all the animals are hunted, when all the rivers and water are polluted, when the air is no longer safe to breathe, only then will people discover that money cannot be eaten. And also the death of democracy is not likely to be an assassination from ambush. It will be a slow extinction from apathy, indifference, and undernourishment. Thank you for your attention, and I hope this was interesting to you. Here is our email and contact number in case you have any proposals, suggestions, etc. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you very much, Maja. I think this brings us also into these questions on the way from the guerrilla action to the implementation. It's not only parliaments, but also the courts that matter, and also the interregional cooperation is super interesting. We're going to discuss about that
and
later
the
too.
Local communities level, definitely.
Of course. Okay, Andreas is next.
Yeah, from PowerPoint wäre mir lieber. Great. A warm welcome also from me. It's nice that you have me here. Thank you for the invitation, and I'm very glad to exchange all this information today, because we see we are fighting for environmental justice in very different ways, and I'm glad to be participant in today's panel discussion. I am also from Green City, but I'm also, like we heard today, I'm also an elected member of the city council from Munich now, and I will show you both parts, I hope. When we talk about environmental issues, why we talk about sustainable mobility or mobility as we know it now grabs our lands, it polluted the air as we heard already, it makes noise, it also changes how we plan our cities. We heard about how to invent public space, who have space on public space, and as we heard from lithium today, it also influences environmental destruction because of the resources we need to do it. If you are searching about the future of mobility, you often heard the solutions. It's about connectivity, it's about self-driving cars, it's about networking, sharing. These are the solutions that you will get from the companies, and a lot of politicians also got on there because it gives you the plan that you don't have to change anything, and we will go further just by inventing science. But when we are talking about the future of mobility, we are talking about, it's kind of environmental justice. We are talking about reclaiming the streets, about public space and how to share the public space and how to get the public space for the people, because if we are designing houses like we design cities, there will be no much room for living left. And today I will narrow it down to the bicycle infrastructure, because once said, if you got a healthy bicycle infrastructure, this will lead to a healthy city. So yeah, let's go back. Just 3 years ago, we started the Radentscheid München. It's let's say kind of petition for better bicycle infrastructure, and we have the special law in Germany that if you are a citizen, you can influence with such petitions the city, the government. And it's not just that you are like a normal petition that you are say we have this idea and it would be good if you adopt it. It's if you collect enough signs and the people elect for your aims, then the cities have to implement the thing. So it's more than a petition. In Germany it's called Bürgerbegehren or Volksbegehren. Depends on if you are just on a city or in the frame of a whole country or part of the country. Yes, we were also a lot, maybe not as much as you showed us before, but also 15 to 20,000 people that join our protest. This is also reclaiming public space, how much space we have. So we did a lot of, we were a lot of out in the streets. We were loud, and we also directed the topic on the field of physical health, the Vision Zero aim that there are no dead people in traffic or badly injured people in the traffic. So we aimed also this because in the time where we did our campaign to get enough signatures, there was actually a young schoolboy was hidden by a car and died of this, and we were on the space, and we built this protected bike lanes with this toy plushies, and to show. Some can argue you want campaigning with the death of people, but if you want to do a campaign that strikes the people's heart, you have to get their emotions. And after a long discussion, we decided, okay, we jump on this, and but we did it with the commission of the parents, and we were in contact, and we don't wanted to just utilize the death of a person. And this was the core, let's say. We were out some months and collected signs, and at the end of the campaign we collected 160,000 signs, so you need around 30, so we doubled it a lot. And this is the mayor of Munich, and we are celebrating in the city center in front of the city town hall. We are celebrated our success, and actually the city of Munich or the parliament adopted our aims. So after giving the signatures to the city, normally the citizens can elect if they want to have what you are aiming for or not. But the city council could also say, okay, we adopt it, and then you are out of the game, let's say. And then normally they have to do it for 1 year, and after 1 year they are not legal binded anymore. But we always talk about a binding from morality, because a lot of people showed that they are interested to take these actions. But we wrote a letter, an open letter, that we still want to be there when they implemented the different structures for road safety and for cycling infrastructure. And so since this, we are working with the municipality, and we are working together on that. For example, we said we need a green we need green cycle lanes that you really know there are the cycle lanes, there are for pedestrians, this is for car use, so that it's clearer and the people feel much more safety. We said where to park the cycles. We said how protected bike lanes, which is a big thing in Munich, can be looked. And so we are working now for 3 years with the municipality to implement this. And a lot of people say nothing has happened because if you are cycling through Munich, maybe you won't see too much. There are things happen, but it's really slowly. And it's funny because now we are working with, we are part of this and we are really pushing it forward. But a lot of activists are now saying, you are now part of the system, you're not doing the things, go out on the streets and reclaim them again. And actually it's what we are doing. On this, the red line is for the cars, the green line is for cyclists, and somewhere is for pedestrians. And actually this demonstration led that the city of Munich changed it, so they took away parking lots, not parking lots, lanes, thank you very much, yeah, lanes, and now we have more space for pedestrians and also for cars. And another thing happened, that the mayor actually invited me to join the Democracy Party of Germany and to get into the city council, and I agreed at least. And since, but I still try to work on the same issues, on environmental justice and sustainable mobility. And since 2 years now, 2.5, I am in the city and city council and try to get it. And we are not in the opposition, we are actually in the leading party together with the Green Party of Munich. And so the pressure is much more on that we are changing things because the people know me from the activists, and now they are saying, now you're a politician, now you have the power to change things. Maybe we can talk a little bit more on this topic in the panel discussion. And I just want to show some small things that we are already invented. This is nearby at the Tal in the inner city space. It's not invented yet, it's just a vision, and this was the claim of one of our newspapers. They said first everyone is against it and then they all like it, and it's really like this. You have to invent the things and you have to go to a lot of pressure groups that are against it. But here you can see this is part of the so-called Altstadtradelring. It's the inner city ring where we are going to have a bicycle lane or bicycle lanes on both sides all over. And this is a part who is now already, it's the picture I saw before is a little bit more on this side, but this is how it will look. We have this nearly 3 meter wide cycle lanes, and this is how we do it. Sometimes we are taking actually car lanes to get in cycle ways, and sometimes we are taking parking lots or reducing also the lanes. This is our last decision. This is next to the river Isar, and there you have these 2 small cycle lanes on each side and the parking cars, and this parking cars will go away, and we have a 4.50 meter cycle path on this, and pedestrians will also have more space. These are the pop-up bicycle lanes, so we took away one bicycle, one car lane, and temporarily built bicycle lanes, and now we have invented them again, and they are there for forever. Oh, I hope so. But we abandoned them, and this was a lot of at first, so we put them away during the winter period. A lot of people say okay, you put them away, and now the people will get death, and it's your fault, and you will be responsible of people getting now injured. I'm happy enough that it's not happened in this winter, but I'm more happy that we reinvented them as new cycle lanes. And this is the last. It's not a decision yet, but this is in one part of the city where you have a lot of shopping, but you have really narrow pedestrian roads, pedestrian ways, and a lot of place for cars, and we will change it to a public space and ban the cars and have place for all kinds of living. But we still have to decide it. But the two leading parties are agreed that we will rebuild it. But it will be a long way, or it's not, maybe not a long way. We will start next year, but there will be a lot of pressure groups and car owners and shop owners who will be against it. So next thing, we are out on the streets again. It's always the same. And as you see, yellow, the Radentscheid Munich has come blue. Red and blue are now more emotional colors than they used to be when we decided to make it like this. And we are actually doing our campaign, the petition for better bicycle infrastructure, not just in the cities and in whole Bavaria. And we want to be there next year when we are now out and collecting the signs. And we want to be there next year when the new parliament of Bavaria is elected. So we will see if you want to be elected like you with the clean air, you have to think about bicycle infrastructure. You have to think about how to, who owns the streets and how public space will be invented. And I brought a little bit I brought some with me, not much because it's just running in October, but you can have 8 friends signing this and be part of the movement. And thank you very much.
Yeah, thanks a lot, Andreas. Also from inside the institutions and outside the institutions, and this back and forth is really super interesting. And maybe this is also a little bit how we can start our discussion now. So I would start with a very small discussion within this panel, and then we open up right away so that we really use the time that is left. I would propose that we also cut a little bit the coffee break and talk a little bit more together so that we have at least 15 minutes coffee break, but kind of half an hour of discussion at least. Okay? Yeah, so so from guerrilla action to officially supported actions and implementations. So we have seen these examples of when you're not in the opposition, but you're within the government, or you have support of the city. It still takes time, apparently, to implement. And this is also for your personal attitude. Like when you're on the streets and you demand, and when you're in the institutions, you implement. There are different actors that you have to deal with, and so on and so forth. But I want to know, basically, from Maja and from Dušan, what is your experience with dealing with public institutions, and what are your strategies to implement, and what are your challenges in Belgrade or in Bosnia, Bosnia-Herzegovina? Maybe you.
Well, the challenges, okay. First of all, we have obstruction from the local government and from the national government, and it's a kind of a wall that cannot be breached. Unfortunately, the political situation in Serbia, as I guess in majority of Balkan countries, is very authoritarian. It is very hard to have a discussion, meaningful discussion with political leaders or politicians that are in power in Serbia. And that also means for Belgrade, I will focus mainly on that because I know. I'm active in Belgrade. So there is no way we can cooperate. As a matter of fact, we didn't at first we didn't try to cooperate. We were just activists who rebelled. But later we tried to have some meaningful conversations and to try to get to some solutions, even like bicycle lanes that are very needed in all the part of the city. And bicycle campaigning was and is still one of our main strategies. Political strategies. So the political leaders didn't in Belgrade. They didn't want anything with us. Didn't want to hear our propositions and nothing of that sorts. So that's one of the reasons we decided to try to get in the local parliament, because we saw that there is no one we can talk to there, and that all the work needs to be done by ourselves.
Okay, thank you, Maja.
Thank you, Martin, for the question. Well, I have to say that the relationship between the competent bodies, courts, and local communities has improved. For example, I would like to point out again the law on environmental protection from 2021. This law is comparing to the last to the previous law. This law is pretty good in its text, but as for implementation, it still has its downsizes. I think that after so many years, we have come to see that the legislative and executive bodies see us more as a partner than the, how can I say, loud bunch as we were perceived like 10 years ago. But there is still room for implementation, and especially when it comes to the public debates that are an essential part of legislative procedure. I think that in that sense, this can be pretty much improved, because the public debates are just foreseen sometimes by the competent bodies and are not being implemented as they should in line with the law. So I think that there is still much room for improvement, and that this is something that we should definitely work on.
Okay, thank you. One last question before we open up for the discussion round. Maybe for all of you, I mean, you're locally active and regionally active, but how much are international regulations can be a tool? I mean, like not all of the states in the Balkans are, or few are in the European Union. So this is one legal framework, but there are also other legal frameworks in your practice also here in Munich. So I'm gonna start with the two of you. How are these international regulations reference point? Yeah, maybe we start with that. Andreas or Silvia.
I think the national or international frameworks help a lot. So Munich has declared to come CO2 free or in 2035, and it's because of the worldwide aim to become climate neutral. I think the politicians like me, we won't do anything if you don't give them a good framework. And with the clean air, for example, we started in 2005 with the small particle dust, and now it's PN, another air particle, let's say. And we need the framework of the European clean air solution or resolution that things are starting, because if the people know if we don't do anything, then we were not allowed to drive our cars anymore. Then they started to do something, or some years now. I think it's a little bit of fallback, but I think this national and international frameworks help a lot.
Do you want to add something?
Yeah, well, not that much, but it's true. We need this pressure from the European Union and these frameworks, because I think the Munich Council, they adopted our petition, the biking lane petition, because they needed to do something. Otherwise, you get these fines from the EU. So it's good for us to have these legal values which cannot be overreached, and the politicians don't know what to do, so they are happy to have some solutions from the organized groups.
Okay, what's your experience with international regulations? Is there any sector where supports your initiatives, or where you can use it as a...
Well, I can say, yeah, we have some support internationally, but unfortunately, the pressure that is said here isn't working in Serbia. Because the legal system is not quite working, so the implementation of some regulations are non-existent. Even if regulations exist, the implementation is not there. So it's only a dead letter on a paper, how we say it in Serbian.
Okay. Maya?
I would say that the Aarhus Convention actually created a pretty solid soil for adoption of the relevant legislation in the FBIH. Again, I would like to mention the law on environmental protection, which is in line, much more in line with the Aarhus Convention and the principle that derive from this international instrument, especially when it comes to access to information and the public participation in decision making, hence public debates. But still, this creates, for example, the unharmonization in terms that the law in DRS should also be harmonized with the Aarhus Convention. It is good. It was better than the FBIH law, but now there is the discrepancy between these two laws, because one is much more in line with the Aarhus Convention, and the other one should be harmonized as well. But still, although the law on environmental protection of the FBIH was adopted only in February last year, there is now a need for the amendments already, because this law was in a shelf for 7 years. So there were some how can I say, new happenings on the international scene, and the norm itself, the law itself, it should correspond to the current happenings and changes. So in that sense, yes, international treaties and conventions such as the Aarhus Convention provide a pretty good soil for creation of the norm, but there is room for improvement always.
So one addition by Andreas, and then we open up for questions and then another. Yeah.
Just a short addition, because I have a really positive view on this, and there is also a negative view. As you said, for example, the clean air resolution for Europe, it's one thing to have the laws, and the other is how you execute the laws. And normally the European community can sue countries when they are against their laws. And for example, for clean air, if you are beyond or above the levels that you have to reach, then you will have to pay 1 million euros per day, where as long as you're not under this, and they are not suing, and the countries don't have to pay it. And next week we will have a next step for clean air in Munich, and I think it's really good. But there were also voices, let's see if they will sue us. Just let it be. They won't do anything. So you have to have the execution.
Okay, thank you also for this critical perspective on these international dimensions. So then I'm gonna open up. There was a first question or comment from Jasper right away, or no, or?
It's actually this what Andy was saying, because I know a bit about things also in Serbian and in Bosnian, and I know like that this struggle in Bosnia start from people struggling for water, for people who didn't have the access to the clean water, and the people who actually fight already for I don't know 10, 20 years, like really families who are coming and fighting for this clean water, and the international agreements or this kind of the declarations we have or the laws we have sometimes help the politicians who are corruptive, like they are in Bosnian and Serbian, or in other countries who are fighting with their democracies, that they actually use this laws to. We had this example of small hydro plants, so that they use these laws to build these hydro plants actually in the rivers where you don't actually have a right to do it. So they use this kind of laws, they get the subventions and so. But anyway, I wanted to also ask one question, which is for me interesting, that like in Serbia there is this kind of, okay, when we are in a political fight, there is like this kind of now something which is very interesting from a point of European democracy, is that actually you have somehow the left and right who is fighting and going together on the streets fighting the environmental justice. So this, if I could have a small so like explanation about it. What do you think about it?
Well, I'm not very fond of it. Yeah, because regarding the ecological questions, I just think that that's kind of it's a nice niche to get on that board, to get on that chain for the right-wing parties. I'm not sure that they really consider the consequences of the environmental damage the right way. They're just consider it like something that is against the tradition, and they are promoting the traditional ways like our forefathers lived and that kind of things. I'm not sure that it's applicable to our modern society, and and there are lots of problems regarding that political promotion, I guess. But for now, we are fighting seamlessly.
For Rio Tinto, it was help, actually.
For Rio Tinto, okay, maybe it was, yeah. But unfortunately, it wasn't so nice inside those protests. You know, there were lots of misunderstandings, and we didn't know how to react on certain challenges that were forced upon us by the government. So that's one of the reasons, I guess, that those protests died.
Okay, other questions from the audience?
Hello. Okay, hi everyone. I'm Damian from Belgrade. I'm currently in Regensburg. I'm a historian, but I'm also interested in academia and outside of it for environmental questions. And so I have a question for Dušan. Is there currently within your organization and the party, is there a program or some plans for tree planting and greening and green areas in the city? And also outside, are there in Belgrade currently some plans for tree planting and greening and planting more green areas?
Our party has a group. It's an environmental group that is it's their job to think of the strategies for greening the city, and we plant trees in monthly or in 2 months. We have actions planting trees, especially this period is very good for planting trees. So we do that, but it's an activist thing, you know. It's not a systemic thing. The plan for the greening of Belgrade that was the plan that Parliament of local Belgrade Parliament accepted, adopted, thank you. It's not very good. It's not very comprehensive, and I think it. But the main problem is that it's not implemented. It's not good, and it's not even implemented. So those are the problems, and we have some urbanistic regulation plans that are going to be adopted this year or in the beginning of the next year for the next 20 years. And those regulation plans are also not good. They present the shrinkage of the green areas at the whole territory of the city of Belgrade. And we will see, we will do our best to deny the plan and to oppose it. I guess that's our tactics for now for that.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, next question. Yeah, please. Yeah.
I will make a question.
Hello. Can you hear me? Hello, hello.
Perfect.
Okay, thanks. Hi, I'm Igor. I come from a peace collective. And first of all, I really appreciate these initiatives from you. It's pretty impressive what you have achieved so far. So I have 2 questions. My first question is, how did you organize such a big protest? I mean, this, I can imagine, is a big effort to do. And my second question is, since I come from a peace collective, and I hope there is nobody from Extinction Rebellion here, because I had an incident with them when I confronted them with this question. So this is a question to all of you. The peace movement is not very vocal these days, unfortunately. And I ask myself why, because as you can imagine, the military is a big polluter in the world. They are very secret. They don't tell people how much they pollute, but some people did their math. I give you an example. One fighter jet, F-15 fighter jet, pollutes as much in 1 hour as a car in 15 years. Furthermore, we have a worldwide spending of $2 trillion. This is a lot of money which can be transformed into an environmental change. So these 2 questions I would like to ask, to anyone who wants to answer.
Okay, then I would say thank you first of all for your questions. We go for this large protests first, but I would like to ask maybe Andreas first, and then Dušan, to say like, how do you mobilize, or like you can contribute to that. How do you mobilize and campaign to bring people to the streets? What is your strategy? What are your best practice cases?
As you may see on this letter, it's joining forces, making big networks, and if you are enough to call the people to go out, then you will be much more, you can do much more than just by your own. And it's maybe a silly answer to start, but it also helps to be successful, because the people will join successful things. So if you are not successful, like when we start the first bicycle campaign, Berlin was successful. So we took the movement that was going on and put it to our community and to our town. So being successful and joining with others would be my answer.
Okay.
Well, I must be honest, in regards to our biggest protests that were Belgrade waterfront protests, we were surprised ourselves what happened. So I guess we didn't have a strong campaign or something like that. We just hit what was a major public concern, I guess. So in that moment, we took the streets and not calculating, not thinking what will that bring us, just going with our guts, and I guess some people liked it. They thought that it was genuine, and the large unsatisfaction in the local public in regards to that project just accumulated, and we made a few very, very large protests. We haven't been able to organize protests after that on that scale, that large, except this protests for lithium. But that wasn't only ours organization. Lots of ecological organizations were involved in that. So I guess there is lots of campaigning and social media exposure and that sort of thing, but it is very important that you hit the right subject at the right moment, or otherwise it won't happen. So we had lots of protests that weren't very that haven't got so much attention. It wasn't just the right time.
Maja?
I would say something to the second question.
Of course, yes.
Yeah, I agree totally with you, and that's why I joined also Greenpeace, and I'm working there as a voluntary, because the German government decided when the Russian-Ukrainian war started, they decided to invest a lot of money in militarily. I don't know how many millions, I don't know, 100 millions. Is going to invest our government in military, and this is money. Billion. Okay, you know better the numbers. And that is money that is missing in climate protection, because we don't have any time to lose to fight this climate crisis, and we need a lot of money to do it very quickly. And it's amazing that the Green Party I am really frustrated for that. A party which I elected and promised me something else, and now it's missing this money, and now we are not reaching these goals, the climate protection goals, and not climate adaptation, and so on.
Can I just transition. Also this kind of like how we, like we are already used as there is a military, there is a plane, and is so much money, and we use it. But how do we change this kind of, how we change this kind of opinion of we always do the same thing? How can we change this to do something differently?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because we know that this is all this we are talking about is like, okay, we know that there is a lot of that the planes or the military is not good for peace. So how we can think out of this box, like how we can transit this kind of way of, okay, how we move from there to say, okay, what do we do then with the 100 billion if we don't if we don't invest in military?
Yeah, we need to raise awareness, because I think there are many people out there who are not our opinion. Who I've heard it out there, people I know, and they said, of course we have to define ourselves. We don't know if Putin is going to come to Germany. We are very close to the front, and people like you and me, people who I know or from my sport community or what and there are. It's very sad, but we have to convince them, and when the citizens fight for that, it's like we saw in these small projects and campaigns, like bike campaigns and so we have to raise awareness and say it again, and do campaigns in this area. We cannot, as environmental organization, we cannot do nothing more than saying it, and
I think I think this number was very impressive for a lot of people, because mobilizing it for different causes. But I think we also have to take care that we are not playing one thing against the other all the time. You know, like when you say it's missing for climate change purposes, I mean, we're also talking about environmental justice, so we have to take into account that there are a lot of investments needed parallel to that. And the global climate change is one of the crises among many. But this modus of mobilizing so much should also bring us together and fighting together for mobilizing it for different kind of purposes, I think. That's maybe just as an addition. And then one small question from Niels, and then we go into the first break. Yeah, can you just come to the, so because we are recording it, that would...
A little bit louder, I think everybody should...
For the recording, you know, like that's the point. You know, you're also working in this sector. You know how this is with recording. You know,
I'm Niels. I'm working as a journalist on one side, and the other side is why I'm here. I'm also part of an association called Zukunft gestalten in Bosnia and Herzegovina, which is something like building up the future and supporting the future in Bosnia. What I'd like to know, especially, I think from Maja, I think. And I think it fits also in the context that we are now discussing about. What about the energy crisis? Has it meant to you for your hydropower plants, for example, that there are new conditions since February, since the beginning of the war? You know, is there no new circumstances now that you have to face?
Thank you for your...
You know, for example, in Germany, we have got a great discussion about nuclear power plants, for example, about coal power plants and everything, and they're seen in a different point of view now, you know, as compared to half a year ago or something like that.
Thank you for your question, Niels. Well, that is an ongoing debate, of course, and at this point, we don't have how can I say, we still see the small hydropower plants as something that is definitely threatening the beauty and the quality of our rivers. Of course, the new circumstances are here, and this is something that the whole world has to accommodate to, not only Bosnia and Herzegovina. But in changes of our stance, no, there wasn't any changes.
Okay, one minimal question. Perfect. And then this was already an outlook to the next panel, if you want, just transitions of energy.
Hi, I'm Iris. So I would like to hear your opinion, Andy, about the second question, since you're a politician now. And what is the position of your party or your personal position to this military question we had?
Thank you, Iris and Igor. First of all, to answer it in a personal way, I have to have the feeling that I can change things, and the scope that you are opened is, for me, it's so big that I don't see that I by myself can change a lot, and I don't know too much about it. It's not the border I want to go, because I don't know where to go. I know about bicycle infrastructure, I know about city planning, I know about all these things. This is where my heart is, and this is where I'm acting. So what there are overwhelming topics that if I would go there, I won't go anywhere because it's too much. I don't know where to start. And for the politician, on a politician scope, yes, as you say, for the Green Party, also the Social Democracy Party of Germany decided to spend this money. And I just have to say, as a local politician, I'm so far away from these decisions. I just have to sit there and say, I don't like it, but I have to be responsible because I'm now at kind of the part of this party. Tomorrow we have we met on a Bavarian level, and there will also be I don't know our Chancellor anymore.
Olaf Scholz.
Olaf Scholz, thank you very much. It's a little bit ridiculous, isn't it? And I can just take this small spots to say I'm not happy about it, and I'm actually I were on a booth on a street festival, and a lot of people coming to me and say I just quit being part of the party because you started, or in the 60s, 70s, you are 80s, you have been a peace party, and now you are investing money, now you are sending soldiers to frontiers, and yeah, I just can say, for me, this is part of that. You have to live with things that maybe not yours, but you are still believing that you are on the right spot to achieve some steps, even if you are not familiar with the whole party. Or it's as I do it.
Okay, thank you. So a lot of food for thought, from the local to the geopolitical global. Coffee break, 20 minutes, I would say, so that we start 11:25. Okay?
Coffee is down there.
Yeah, it's just in this room, very much below you. Thank you for this first panel.
Thank you.
Thank you.